Welcome back to the halftime show here on the PAC Sports Network. The Bethany Bison visiting the Waynesburg Yellow Jackets, and we are now joined by current guard for the Bethany Bison women's basketball team, Bella Skobel. Bella, wonderful to have you join us today. First off, want to hear all about this season and how it's been for you guys over at Bethany.
So far this season, we've actually faced a lot of adversity. And I think that shows in our record, but I think what our record doesn't show is maybe how we've overcame all the challenges that we've had thrown at us and we weren't expecting this season. But I think as like time has went on and we've played more games that we're figuring out things that we each have to do as like individuals and then together as a team to be more successful.
Well, it's great that you guys have been able to overcome that, early season adversity. And we'll talk a little bit about this season later on, but I want to hear just about your career and just what ultimately led you to Bethany. So what was it that wanted, kind of pulled you in that direction to wanting to become a Bison?
Well, originally when Coach Sansom was recruiting me, um, the team was a little bit on the rocks. They had a few people that weren't sure if they'd be back. And he kind of told me, if you come to Bethany, you're going to have an immediate impact. And that's something that I was looking for. I didn't really want to just go somewhere and, you know, not have that much of an important role. I wanted to, change the culture here. So that's really what sold me on Bethany.
Well, it's a great, approach by you to kind of want to, where you want to go next, a place that you know that you can make that impact. And I know you had a big impact on the court for your high school team at Charleroi. And I want to hear a little bit about your time there because you were part of some very good teams. You also had a lot of individual success. But what from your time at Charleroi did you take away and you've applied to your time now at Bethany?
Well, my freshman and sophomore season, I think from those two seasons, since I was more of a role player and I was alongside a lot of really good players, I was able to learn how to, find my teammates and how to work well with my teammates and what they like to do in the court, be able to find chemistry with different people. And then my junior and senior season is when I was able to learn how to be more of a leader and a point scorer.
Well, it sounds like you really got a feel for every single, part of, being on that team, right? I mean, you had a role player scoring role, so you got to kind of see from both sides of what that is like.
Yeah.
How do you think that's kind of helped you now at Bethany? I mean, do you feel like that has allowed you to, at times when you need to take over scoring, you can do that, but then also times where you can kind of sit back and let another teammate do that?
Yeah. Yeah. Because my junior and senior season, it was kind of hard. I felt like sometimes maybe I felt at times, oh, like I need to score, I need to do this. But then when I'm here at Bethany, at times still sometimes I'm like, oh, I do need to score right now. But at other times I'm like, oh, I can trust my teammates, get them the ball. You know, Alyssa might be hot one game, Mac might be hot one game. I need to find ways to get the ball to them and have them score too.
Yeah, and again, it kind of alleviates that pressure from you a little bit, when you're playing. But I know during that time of you, getting recruited and then ultimately coming to Bethany, you had COVID, right? You had the pandemic and everything else involved with that. So, what was that like to kind of maneuver through and really fight your way, forward into Bethany?
Um, you know, our our freshman season here, it was tough because, we were just locked in our room and really the only time that we were outside of our room was for basketball. So even though I was spending a majority of my time with my teammates, because that's the only thing we were really allowed to do, it was still kind of hard because we didn't get to really hang out, outside of basketball or off the court. So it's kind of hard to build that team chemistry. Um, but I think we did a good job. In other ways, doing Zoom dance stuff together. So yeah, it was hard, but we made it fun.
And I think that again is so important, making it fun, right? Getting creative and finding ways where you can still interact with your teammates and get to know people, especially for you in that time being a freshman. I'm sure that was incredibly hard, right? I mean, a new school, new team, new
Yeah.
program, new everything, and you have to kind of get thrown into it with a pandemic on top of it. But on top of a new thing for you guys this year is having a new coach in Michaela Lopez. And I would love to hear just kind of what your thoughts have been of having her as a new coach and also just how you would say that she's, really kind of gotten to you guys in terms of sharing her expertise in basketball.
Yeah, I love Coach Lopez. She's been really great, just understanding, what we've been going through as a team, and that we're all trying to also go through this transition with her being the new coach, and just finding how um, she needs to coach us and how we need to be players for her and her style. Um, but it's awesome because, she's younger, and so she has went through this maybe just like 2 to 3 years ago she was playing. So it's like she can relate to us, and help us on and off the court, figure out things in life and just stuff in general. So
Well, I know that you had mentioned some adversity that you and your teammates went through earlier this season. How much do you think, your time during the COVID season and going through that adversity kind of helped you guys for the adversity you faced during this season?
yeah, I would say that the people that were here for COVID, um, were a little more like we're not really thrown off as much by the challenges we faced because it's like, oh, we've been going through this for a few years now. So that's been helpful. And it's been helpful for us just to, lead the freshmen and even the sophomores who didn't really face that, and just help them out.
Yeah, I think it's great you guys can kind of be the leaders and the ones that can kind of, drive the boat, if you will, forward through all of that adversity. But moving forward through the rest of this season, I mean, what's going to be, something that you guys need to continue to improve upon and work on to really make a big run towards the playoffs? But also, on the other hand, what's something that's been a big strength that you feel so far this year for your team?
I think that something we need to keep improving on would be just each of us individually finding our roles because since the beginning of the season, people getting hurt, stuff happening, we've just had to all basically switch our roles, and what we need to do for our team to be successful. So I think us just each better figuring out what that is and what we need to do, that's going to really help us. And I think just having that, Coach Lopez always says that having that grit, um, that's what's going to help us because even though maybe we've lost Lindsay, just having that want to win, that's really going to have us peak at the right time.
Well, it's all about peaking at the right time. So that is a great thing for your coach to share with you all. Well, Bella, it's really been great to have you today. Join us on the PAC Sports Network halftime show. Before we let you go, just want to hear what are your overall expectations for this group as you guys finish out the rest of the season?
I hope that, we just like I said, peak at the right time. The last few games, we've done so much better than the beginning of the season. We've found what we need to do as individuals and as a team. And I think we have that fire under us coming. So I just hope that it all comes together at the right time.
Well, we really hope you guys do get that stuff together all at the right time. And we wish you guys nothing but luck here at the PAC Sports Network. Again, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
That's Bella Skobel of Bethany Women's Basketball. Folks, don't go anywhere as we'll continue our coverage of Bethany and Waynesburg right here on the PAC Sports Network.